Why don't we start with the weekend, though, and college basketball? If last Thursday is the single best day on the sporting calendar, then today might be the single worst. Hate to set the tone like that, but let's be real. Because last Thursday, that dopamine waterfall turned on and put us all on a 4-day bender, a 4-day euphoria bender. Today, on the other hand, is the big-ass crash. Big old crash. Today, we're back to reality. But man, what a ride that was. What an amazing ride that was. So rather than sitting here and dwelling on the crash, why don't we take a look back? Why don't we start with the legend that is E. Muss. Woo, pig, freaking suey. Yo, Razorback fan, I would ask, how you living? But I already know how you're living. Let me ask you instead, are you not entertained? One thing to knock off a 1 seed and the defending national champion, but it's another to do it with that E. Muss swag. That right there, of course, is the OG of ripping off his shirt. However, Muss, the legend, can rip his shirt off whenever the hell he wants. And you will hear that legend back on in about 35 minutes. E. Muss soaking up all the jungle karma. And I'm soaking up all that E. Muss energy. Man, this dude did such an amazing job. A brilliant, brilliant coaching job against Kansas. And any of you Arkansas fans who were giving E. Muss crap this season should have your speaking privileges, or at least your social media privileges, revoked. And don't tell me you weren't. Don't tell me you knew all along. I watched it. You were into this guy hard. And I don't mean this about the team. I mean about anything. If you use that big mouth to doubt E. Muss out loud this year, then you should not get to use that big mouth for anything ever again. He was telling you, he was trying to tell you, he warned you that ultimately this team was going to take some time. It would take some time. They're getting better and better every single day. And he said they're continuing to evolve. And what do you know? The guy was right. He said they might make a run, and the guy was right. My dude's got the Razorbacks through to the second weekend of the third straight tournament. Love to see it. Love to see it.
Love to see it. Love to see it.
I'm telling you, the guy is a freaking legend. You're not going to find a better college coach. He is a genius and a historically great grinder. And he has adapted to the changes in the business and the game as well as anybody in recent years. I'm going to say it once again, Hogs fan. I said it late last week. I'll say it again right now. You are so lucky to have this dude. And a lot of you, by the way, owe him a big-ass apology for making all that noise that you were making this season. Spoiled much? 3 straight Sweet 16s. You're back, and that was after back-to-back Elite 8 runs. And we're going to run him back later on this hour. Can't wait to get caught up with Muss. All right, speaking of jungle karma, Muss had it. He was not the only one. How about Tobin freaking Anderson? Ask him if he felt any of the jungle karma. Tobin Anderson of number 16 seed FDU for making the prediction of the entire tournament thus far. When he just casually dropped after that first 4 win in Dayton that, quote, the more I watch Purdue, the more I think we can beat them.
Hey. I don't want Purdue to see this, right? I walked in breakfast this morning in Cam. What did you say to me, Cam? Merles, where's Cam Merles? He said, the more I watch Purdue, the more I think we can beat them. That's what he said. Yes, sir. Let's go shock the world. Let's go do this.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That was not something that he said to his team that did not want to get out. He said, listen at the very top of that, I want Purdue to see this.
Hey. I don't want Purdue to see this, right? I walked in breakfast this morning in Cam. What did you say to me, Cam?
I want Purdue to see this. A 16 that won 4 games last year, going up against a 1 seed. Let's face it, FDU is not that big. Purdue is really big and a 1 seed. I'll tell you what, that was one of the most incredible calls ever. This dude called his shot. And I hate to say this about Purdue. This is not the first time this has happened. Well, they generally don't lose to 16s, but they have come up short frequently. And the more I watch them, the more I wonder if they're going to beat anybody who matters. The Boilermakers just became the second number 1 seed to ever lose to a 16, but they became the first program to ever lose to a 13 seed or worse in 3 straight tourneys. That's not easy to do, but they have. It has been a disaster upon disaster upon disaster for Matt Painter. But this one's got to be the worst of all. This one might have been the biggest disaster in the history of the tournament. I mean, for real. Purdue's had some bad nights, but they've never had one like this. They lost to a 16 seed that won only 4 games a year ago. They didn't even win their own conference this year. FDU got in because the actual NEC regular season and tournament champ, Merrimack, were not eligible yet. That's how they got in. So Purdue not only lost to a 16, they lost to the non-champs of the NEC. They lost to the shortest team in the field while having a 7'4" monster of their own, a unanimous All-American. They lost to a school that doesn't even have a band. That's right, FDU essentially had to rip Dayton's band to take them on the road for the first 4. This is all true. So what I'm basically saying is Tobin Anderson had to build that entire thing from scratch in one season. Or, to quote the man himself on this very program, he had to build it from below scratch. First, Charlie Casserly brought us below not good.
Below not good.
Then Tobin Anderson brought us below scratch.
It was almost below scratch. Like you're almost in a hole to start with, for the votes. Because, like you said, the morale is so bad. You're coming off a 4-win season. There's just the alumni, the fans, the people. They're just I got so many people talking to me saying, "Hey, you can't win there. It's impossible. It's not going to happen. It's a hard job, all that kind of stuff." And so we had to build that back up from basically from nothing.
So he made that statement on this program late last week. I would say that a win in the first 4 and then one of the most incredible upsets in the history of the tournament, filled with incredible upsets, counts as getting it done. Unfortunately, FDU, tough as hell, by the way. Unfortunately, they ran into a buzzsaw in the second round, and that buzzsaw was Dusty May and his FAU Owls. He also is tough as hell. Like, they may not be a household blue blood brand name either, but they did win 31 games this season. 31. They did roll into the tourney with a top 25 ranking. Sleep on these dudes, and you're either lazy or you're ignorant or you're both, because that's a damn good team. And they're tough as hell. And as guard, their star guard, Janelle Davis put it, they've been trying to prove that they were legit since the very jump. There was a lot of that over the weekend, wasn't it? Timmy getting loose with an F-bomb, a few other 4-letter bombs. Like I always say, know your room. But then again, the emotion, this is why the NCAA tournament to me is the greatest event in all sports. The emotions are so high. It's so incredible, and so many things happen. You can understand why somebody might let loose with an F-bomb or a 4-letter bomb or cry after a game. In terms of that dude, he earned the right to cuss on live TV because he did something that had never been done, not since they started keeping these stats. 25 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, and 5 steals. Nobody had ever done that since they started to track steals. And you can hear his coach, Dusty May, back in here in the jungle in the final segment today. And at least Janelle Davis did not F-bomb, as the aforementioned Drew Timme did. He was a little relieved and in a pretty good spot and feeling good when Gonzaga survived an extremely game TCU last night. 7 times in a row. We're not going to be the ones to bleep this up.
We could not be the team that this one up.
Yo, that's on national TV. That was incredible. It was so matter of fact. Feels like that dude's been at Gonzaga for about a decade, right? You would think that after all this time, he might know better than anybody else what you can and cannot say in TV interviews. Then again, he did just tie the all-time mark for 20-point games at the NCAA Tournament with 9. And he knows it's his last look, and he wants to make damn sure that they're not the ones that F this thing up.
We cannot be the team that this one out.
So I guess that guy can say whatever the hell he wants in the postgame as well. Same for my dude, Tom Izzo, a.k.a. Mr. March, a.k.a. Mr. Wear It, right on his freaking sleeve. The dude did what the dude does. He knocked off Shaka Smart and the second seed Marquette, giving Izzo the most wins ever at the tournament by a head coach with a worse seed. That's a pretty damn good stat to have. And he's got them in the Sweet 16, if I'm not mistaken, for the 15th time. So, essentially, if you've got Izzo, you're good. If you've got Muss, you're good. If you're from New Jersey, apparently you're good. Last year it was St. Peter's. This year we had FDU. And somehow, some way, we still have Princeton. The geniuses are somehow still alive. They're still dancing. They're not dead. Not dead, can't quit. Not dead, can't quit. In fact, the geniuses rolled right through Mizzou. Not only is Princeton through to the Sweet 16, but there was actual garbage time in their second round win. Princeton got to the empty end, or got to empty the end of their bench in a second round win at the NCAA tournament. I mean, find me something more insane than that. Princeton emptying its bench in a blowout win in the NCAA tournament to get to the Sweet 16. But then again, we said it. Did I or did I not say, and I'm far from the only one, but over the last few weeks, whenever I talk to an NCAA coach, did I or did I not say, yo, coach, have you ever seen a field more wide open? And every single one of the coaches said no, never, never. So that's why the dance is incredible. That's why the dance is the best thing. That's why the dance is undefeated, because it is delivering yet again.